Before an ancient hunter took down a single animal, he did something that would make most modern people deeply uncomfortable. It was not a war cry. It was not a prayer for strength or a plea for a good hunt. It was something far stranger and far more unsettling than that. Across cultures separated by entire oceans, by thousands of miles and thousands of years, hunters who never met and never could have spoken to one another all did a version of the same disturbing thing before they took an animal's life. From the frozen north to the African plains to the deep forests, the same strange behavior appears again and again, and the reason behind it reveals something about the ancient mind that we have almost completely lost today. I am not going to tell you what the ritual was just yet, because to understand why a hunter would do this, you first have to understand how an ancient human truly saw the animal standing in front of him. It was nothing like the way you see the meat on your plate. And once you understand that, this disturbing ritual will start to make a chilling kind of sense. To you, an animal is a thing. That sounds harsh, but think about it honestly. When you eat meat today, it arrives wrapped in plastic, clean, anonymous, completely separated from the living creature it once was. You never saw its face. You never looked into its eyes. You never heard the sound it made. You feel nothing, because there is nothing there to feel anything about. It is food, and that is all it has ever been to you. But for an ancient hunter, this was unthinkable. The animal in front of him was not a thing. It was not food, at least not yet. It was a living being with eyes that looked back, with breath, with fear, with a will to survive exactly as strong as his own. He had often tracked that single animal for hours, sometimes for days. He had watched it move, watched it eat, watched it rest. He knew it as an individual creature, not an anonymous product. The ancient hunter and the animal were not separated by a supermarket and a sheet of plastic. They stood face to face in the same dirt under the same sky. Both of them alive, both of them aware, both of them knowing what was about to happen. And in that moment, the hunter understood something that we have spent thousands of years carefully forgetting. To eat, he had to take a life. And to do that, he had to end something every bit as real, every bit as precious as his own existence. That weight, that terrible understanding is where the ritual was born. So here is the disturbing thing ancient hunters did. Before, and often after, they took an animal's life. They spoke to it. They apologized to it. In many cultures, the hunter would lean close to the fallen creature and explain himself, telling the animal that he was sorry, that he had no choice, that his children were hungry and the tribe needed to survive. He would thank the animal for its life. He would ask its forgiveness. Some hunters whispered that they hoped the animal's spirit would not be angry, that it would understand, that it would even choose to return again in another body so the cycle of life could continue. Some covered the animal's eyes or laid its body in a particular sacred direction, or placed offerings beside it. Some refused to let anyone speak badly of the animal, or waste any part of it, treating every scrap as a gift that must be honored. To a modern person watching this, it is deeply unsettling. A grown hunter, kneeling beside an animal he has just taken down, talking to it, apologizing to it, thanking it, as though it could hear and understand every single word. It looks like madness. It looks like a man talking to his food. But here is the part that turns this from strange into genuinely profound. Because the ancient hunter was not deluded, and he was not foolish. He was responding to something real, something we have lost the ability to even feel. The ancient hunter believed deep in his bones that the animal had a spirit, not as a quaint superstition, but as a fundamental truth about the world. To him, the deer, the bison, the bear, the bird, every creature was a conscious being, aware and alive in the same way he was. And if the animal had a spirit, then taking its life was not a simple, meaningless act. It was a moral act. It carried weight. It created a debt. The ritual of apology and thanks was how the hunter paid that debt. It was how he made peace with the act of taking a life. It was how he reassured himself and his entire community that what he had done was necessary, respectful, and right, not careless or cruel. And there was something even deeper underneath it. The hunter knew that his own survival was completely tied to the animal's fate. The two were bound together in a way that could not be separated. The animal's life ended so that the hunter and his children and his whole tribe could live. That is an almost unbearable thing to carry, day after day, hunt after hunt, season after season. The ritual gave that weight somewhere to go. It transformed a harsh necessity into a sacred exchange, a relationship rather than a senseless act. The animal was not a victim of pointless violence. It was a participant, a giver, a partner in survival, an honored equal in the oldest agreement on Earth. And that reframing was not weakness, and it was not self-deception. It was how the ancient human mind survived the crushing psychological cost of taking life to eat every single day for hundreds of thousands of years without being destroyed by it. Now, here is the part that should genuinely unsettle you, sitting where you are today. We do not do this anymore. We have completely erased the animal from the act of eating it. We have built entire systems, vast facilities, packaging plants, sprawling supply chains, all designed specifically so that no one ever has to look the animal in the eye, never has to feel the weight the ancient hunter felt with every hunt. We eat more meat than any humans in the history of the world, and we feel less about it than any humans who have ever lived. Think about that contrast for a moment. The ancient hunter brought home maybe a handful of animals in an entire season, and carried the moral weight of every single one of them in his heart. You can eat dozens of animals in a single month and never once think about a single one of them. And the strangest part is, the ancient hunter would find our way of living horrifying. To him, taking a life without acknowledgement, without thanks, without ceremony, without even seeing the creature's face, would not be progress at all. It would be a kind of monstrousness. He would look at our clean, anonymous, guilt-free meat and see the most disrespectful thing imaginable, a way of taking thousands upon thousands of lives while pretending that nothing was taken at all. The ritual was never really about superstition. It was about staying human in the face of what survival demanded of them. It was about refusing, absolutely refusing, to let the taking of a life become easy or thoughtless. And somewhere along the way, across all our progress and convenience, we quietly let it become the easiest, most invisible thing in the world. So when you picture that ancient hunter kneeling in the dirt, whispering an apology to an animal he has just brought down, do not think of him as primitive or foolish or lost in superstition. Think instead of what he understood that we have forgotten. He understood that every life he took was a real life, not a product. He understood that survival has a cost, and that the cost should be felt, not hidden away. He understood that the animal in front of him was not a thing, but a being, and that taking its life created a debt that had to be honored, a debt that could never simply be ignored. We told ourselves we outgrew all of that. We told ourselves it was just primitive nonsense, the imagination of people who did not know any better. But the truth is much harder to sit with. We did not outgrow the ritual. We did not rise above it. We simply built a world so good at hiding the cost of our own survival that we no longer feel that cost at all. The ancient hunter looked his food in the eyes and thanked it for giving its life so that he could live. We never even see its face. And if that comparison makes you a little uncomfortable right now, if it sits a little heavily in your chest, then you have just felt, for one brief moment, the exact weight that the ancient hunter carried with him every single day of his life. The weight that we spent thousands of years and built an entire modern world learning how to never feel again. If this changed the way you see the world, even a little, then take a moment and subscribe. This channel is about everything we used to understand and somehow forgot, the truths buried deep in the human story. There is so much more waiting beneath the surface, and we are only just beginning. I will see you in the next one.